That's the cue. Must be. Okay, Skylar Community Schools, in its partnership with parents, students, and the community, is committed to educate students to become skilled, knowledgeable, and responsible citizens in a global society. Notice of this meeting was given in advance according to state law by giving notice of the meeting to the public. Notice of the meeting was also given in advance to all members of the Board of Education. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You know, it's kind of nice. I haven't seen this many people at a meeting for a long time, so it's good that we can do this. And again, stay spread out. That's good. So
kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah. This meeting has been preceded by advance notice and hereby declared to be an open session. A copy of the Open Meeting Act is posted in the front of the meeting room. I will entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
Well, just the first month is on. We got our new budget put in. And so you'll see how your revenue and expenses are going. You'll see all your account balances. So all the financial information's in there. We're updated, going on with this year.
We're on our way. 11 more months to go. Right? All right. Go ahead, call the roll, Sam.
Roberts,
Yes.
Lanuza,
Yes.
Mishak,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Simrod,
Yes.
Bobercheck.
Yes.
All right. In the public forum, if we have visitors here that wish to speak about any particular item, we'll entertain your comments for a maximum of 5 minutes. If not, we will move on to the student rep report.
She's here. Come on. Or you can sit here in the corner.
Yeah, you're
Because
welcome
we
to.
can see you on the camera. How's that? Okay. Sure.
It's been pretty good so far. The school year it's been going well. For sports, conference cross country happened last Thursday, and districts is coming up this Thursday actually. Football has one more home game left. The dancing and the band will perform at halftime. The band on Friday was being judged by 3 judges that were brought in. And we will also be performing for judges the next football game. Seniors and juniors took the ACT and the pre-ACT on September 29th. Mrs. Bertrand and Miss J provided snacks for break time. Everything went pretty well there. Some teachers that deserve some shout outs for working hard is Mr. Goody John, Mrs. Gustafson, Mr. Sayer, and Mr. Carter. These teachers have been swimming with students who are in quarantine, and they've been recording their lessons for students to watch. Parent-teacher conferences are coming up tomorrow night and Wednesday. Parents will be meeting with their focus teachers either through Zoom, phone call, or in person. One act is going pretty well too, so is speech. For one act, they're supposed to have their lines memorized by next Monday, I believe. It's all going pretty well. I also won the Hispanic Heritage Month essay contest for the 11th and 12th graders category. I was awarded at the Capitol. I'm going to pass this around. You can pass this one too. That one is my award and a little booklet they gave there. I also got, well, I haven't gotten it yet, but I got a cash prize, so that was pretty well. Overall, it's been good. The mask wearing and the social distancing I see that the students are getting used to it. They aren't complaining as much as the beginning of the year. I think it's all going pretty well.
Congratulations.
So up on the screen is her picture. I want to add her quick, just because she was talking about mask wearing, so it seemed like a good place for her to come. Go to sharing again. This report. Here's our, every week on our administrative meetings, we have what is our COVID report, which tells us how many people are in, out. And if you see up on the television, I don't know, you can probably see it on yours, now that I'm pulling it up, but Richland, this is from the nurses report. We have 2 students out on protocol, but no positives so far out there. We have 2 staff at Fisher's, but they've recovered 1 positive student at Fisher's, and no people out right now. Middle school, we had 2 positive staff. No positive staff out. No positive students. And we have 7 out on protocol, mostly because of a lunch mix. Okay. Exposure. Middle or elementary, 1 positive staff. 9 students out on protocol. No positive. Preschool had 3 staff positive, 1 student out on protocol. District was, I was the bad guy in that one. High school has 4 positive staff, all recovered, 8 positive students, all recovered. So since August 12th, 9 total students positive and 13 total staff positive. And as of today, nobody positive. So we have 0, according to this report. So you can see this every week on the SAA, on the administrator meeting. You can see, because we put this report up every week, because it's important for our staff to know that their work is being rewarded by keeping our cases down. Some of the cases that we get, like we have to send a student home on protocol, it's because they've called East Central, and East Central then says that exposure requires so many days out. Okay, so just so you guys know, every week, if you're wondering where our numbers are or how it's going, I know I've told you before, but it's on our SAA meeting. Sometimes I can get it like this, sometimes I get it as a PDF, so I just attach it. So if you go to that meeting, you can see them every week, what our numbers are doing. Questions on that? So I know wearing masks are hard, but it's keeping you and your classmates safe. So thank you.
Yeah. Hey, I have a question for you, Vanessa. So did they comment, I mean, so this is a statewide, I'm assuming a statewide essay scenario. And I guess I was just curious if they gave any indication. I mean, so did hundreds, thousands of applicants, or, I mean, so you started it because you knew about it through your teacher, or?
Yeah, the teacher, Mr. Parents.
Okay.
One day during class, he's just like, "Oh, we're writing an essay, and it's going into a contest to see if you guys could win out of the whole state."
Awesome.
And we just read it.
Okay. Good.
Like 200 in her category that were submitted.
Awesome. That's great.
And Mr. Burns is 2 for 2 also. He had a champ in middle school and her. So I'm going to add that too.
Cool.
He was pretty excited about that.
Well, then we got to have a shout out to him too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations. As a result, you get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off.
All right, moving along. Board policy. I want to make that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of new and amended October policy updates as presented.
I'll second.
Yeah, been moved and seconded. Additional discussion.
There are 3 amended policies. One of them has to do with identifying appropriate relationships between teachers and students. And if you go in and you read the red line, it just says what the changes are because of statute changes. Another one is about employee injury on the job and work comp. They used to report to the superintendent, now they have to report to their supervisor, so principal, okay, that changed. The third change are in relation to, they added mental health to the physical health in our policy. And there's been a lot of talk through this whole pandemic thing about the pressure on people for mental health. And so that's one addition to the policy. And then policy 40413 has to do with our ability to be able to use federal grants to pay people under school closure, like last spring. Okay, so we're going to use, because some of the federal monies that people got, they were expecting to pay some salaries, and apparently there was a hiccup somewhere in there that got challenged. And so we do have a policy now that says what we did last spring was allowable.
Mhm.
So not a lot of big changes, but changes that are required for us. First reading, you get a month to look it over, ask questions, and then for a second reading next month.
If no questions, Sally, go ahead.
Lanuza,
Yes.
Mishak,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Simrad,
Yes.
Bobercheck,
Yes.
Roberts.
Yes. All right, building and grounds.
Make a motion to approve the listing of District 4R School Real Estate with Landmark Management and Realty, and authorize the president to enter into a contract to sell the property at a public auction.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
The board members can speak on this
Yeah.
as well, but
I was gonna
because
say,
this is a sale of real estate, we did go with Chris Langemeyer to list it. We also sought our legal counsel from Dick Seckman, who worked with Chris to put this together. And I'm going to turn over the board for comments.
I don't remember exactly what day we met, but it was a week or so ago, maybe 10 days, and talked through the fact that we have a building out there. It's been sitting idle for what, 5 years?
At least 3. We tried to use it.
But we're using it for storage and things of that nature currently. But again, many of the things that are being stored are likely to not be used to a significant degree going forward. And if they can be used, they will be. But opportunities there to put it on the tax rolls again, which can help from a standpoint from that regard. And just put it to a better use than it's being done for it right now. I think that's something that's been out there and discussed for a number of years. Just you never know when the timing is just right to do anything, but I think it's time to move forward on this and get it to where it's has a viable purpose for some individual or other party. So
up on the screen is, or attached to your agenda, is a timeline of what Chris and Dick Seckman worked out. So
Chuck, any comments? And
Well, we've had this building for a long time and it's not being utilized. And anybody that's owned property that does not utilize it realizes that it deteriorates and gets out of condition very fast. And at this point, with the purchase of this building, we don't feel that we'll probably ever need it or use it. So I'd say it the decision was made that it's probably time to let somebody else utilize the building and put a little bit of cash into our funds and take some of the burden off the taxpayers, I guess.
And there are multiple interested buyers and some of the potential uses of that building are, from what I understand, will be taken care of in this facility that we're in now. So that, in my mind, purchasing this property then really made it make sense that 4R needs to be sold, as soon as possible. And like I said, there's multiple interested buyers, so I think it will sell well, and now is the time.
We had originally discussed that this would be about a month, but after looking at all the legal requirements and the advertising, you can see on there that it's December when Rich will work with Chris on the final sale of that property and bring it back to you for approval. So it's going to come back to you again on approving the sale. Okay. So if anybody asks, where's the timeline or what's going on, it is in this board meeting. You'll see everything and all costs associated with it.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, Sally?
Mishak,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Simrad,
Yes.
Waberchek,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Lanuza.
Yes.
Okay. I would move to accept the bid to purchase the bus from Nebraska Central Equipment Incorporated as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
I explained in our September meeting that this is Ronnie's third attempt at trying to get the bus purchase grant. And the grant is up to 50% of the cost of a new bus or $42,000. The bid from the two busing companies that bid were right at 100,000. One was 99 something and the other one was a little over 100. They're both attached here. The one that was over, however, would give us a $1,000 discount for prepay, and really doesn't matter to us. Following our meeting, there was some discussion about maybe we should look at an activity bus that might accommodate. We're traveling farther with our activities. Our conference has expanded. When we looked at all the requirements within the grants and what is all involved in a coach type bus or an activity bus, that would, we really were nervous about staying within the confines of the grant. There are certain requirements for a coach bus. It has to be so many pounds. I mean, and right in the grant, it says the kind of bus that we should purchase. And so we were nervous about losing that 42,000 if we got outside the scope of that. And so we went back and we recommended staying with 71 passenger. The Bluebird bus and chassis, our drivers are all familiar with that. And so when you're driving down the road and you don't know your instrument panel, we buy a different bus. That's why we stayed with this one. Both of them pretty much had all the equipment spec'd in that we had asked for, but just a familiarity because we switched so many bus drivers around.
Yeah, I think one of the other negatives on the coach type bus, again, just driving or capability of the driver itself, air brakes, those types of things, having additional credentialing that were required, and I mean those are all things that were discussed in the conversation. So
if we could have got a bus that would have had hydraulic brakes in the same class of license, we may have looked at it a little harder and pushed that grant, but this required a whole different level of licensing. And right now, hiring bus drivers is a hard thing for us. So,
And at this point, we didn't have any bus drivers that would qualify to drive that bus. So we'd have to either get somebody to get a higher class or find a different person.
we did though look at a bus or look at what it would take. So we have investigated it instead of just saying no. So.
Any other comments or questions? Sally, call the roll.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Simrod,
Yes.
Bob Burchett,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Lanuza,
Yes.
Mishak.
Yes.
Okay, school calendar.
I'll move to approve the administrative recommendation to amend the school calendar as recommended.
I will second it.
Okay, discussion.
Okay, I can hear, make up your mind though. However, Minor asked a question at the last meeting, which caused me to think Monday and Friday, I knew that in the grants that we had to look at 2 more days that we needed for staff training. And so I talked with the administrative team to say, do we have 5 days of good things that we can do? And so I did attach what Dr. Gibbons and the administrators and the tech people have worked out as far as offerings that we can do for our staff, both support staff and certified staff. And we looked at the 5 days that we had. Lo and behold, last week, the Department of Education, by order of the commissioner, has said that they will allow 48 hours of professional development to count towards student days. And I attached that letter with this agenda item. Next week would be 40 hours. So we have 8 days and we have 1 more day after Christmas that we're looking at. We're going to ask for that later to be tied into the final APL trainings that will tie into Martin Luther King Day, which is our professional development. There's 2 days of training. So we already have 1 off. We'll just take the second one after that. And so we recommend this, as you heard from our student, and I'm sure that the administrators will also echo this. Even though our numbers have been low, this has been a stressful thing for our kids, our teachers, and you can see us wearing on them. And for us to be able to take these days, when our parents come in for parent-teacher conference, they will get a sheet that says, we have a little school spread, please help us over these next days, not to bring spread back into our school. And so when parents come in for parent-teacher conference, we need their help when their kids are home, not to go out and bring it back in. And I think then we can make our push toward Thanksgiving, take those few days and make a push toward Christmas break. And so we can see if we can get through this first semester whole. Okay? And so I think they've done a heck of a job. And while leaving kids home so many days in a row, we know has an effect. We've never put our staff through what they've been through this fall. That's been difficult. And I think it's been difficult on administrators and on our teams and on kids. And this seems to be a good break. And I think that the professional development that we'll put in there in that week will really benefit our staff. We'll take a little pressure off and give them time to get the things done they need to. I don't know if the other principals want to say anything, echo anything. I mean, we've beat this thing around forever. Dave, any thoughts?
Just if anybody has any questions about what we have planned, we'll definitely go through that.
There's a lot of good trainings to get like teachers like just refocus back on, you know, why we do what we do and hopefully get them motivated and excited again, because it's been tough this year for them.
Now, I can just say something, for the priority school stuff, that week is a blessing because we have not been able to do with our, just the PLC work that we needed and the small programs that we needed to put in place. Like that week is gonna save us. And KRKO, our consultants, were very excited that we had that opportunity. So we really appreciate that you guys are looking into that for us.
Any other comments?
What's the initial staff reaction to this? That is this a great thing, or is it too long a break? Are they concerned about students being out of the classroom that long? What, you as administrators, what reaction are you getting?
Yeah, I can tell you, I've talked to a number of them, and they're very excited to have the opportunity. And they like the professional development that's out there. They appreciate the PLC time is the one thing at the high school level that they're not really, I guess, kind of a selling piece for us.
To clarify that PLC time, professional learning community, the idea that that the teachers can actually get together in their teams, whether it's a grade level team or a curriculum team, and now they have the opportunity to spend some time going back through their all of their curriculum documents, their curriculum materials, and making sure that they're getting in what the kids need. That we're prepared to go remote if we have to, not that we want to, but prepared to do it if we need to. So they have time to do the things that they need to be doing that has maybe not been there.
Testing data.
Yeah, we're going to spend some time going through all of our testing where we've not necessarily had that time to go through all of our data that we've developed this school year so far.
Thank you.
Jesse?
At the middle school, I know I've walked into a couple of meetings with teachers, and they were working together to sign up for the different trainings. And Dr. Gibbons, if you look at that list that Dr. Hastings sent on to you, it's a very thorough list of training. And our new people are going to get those trainings that we expect all of our new people to have, capturing kids' hearts and APL, because those are the things that we as administrators are looking for when we go into classrooms. And so that way we can say, okay, now that you've seen it, these are the things we're looking. So our teachers did a really good job of jumping on and signing up right away. And I'm impressed at how full the schedule became with Dr. Gibbons hard working. And our teachers, signing up and then asking, well, I've been meaning to do this with my team for a long time. Can I sign up for a PLC and do that? And I said, absolutely, do that. Just fill out the document Dr. Gibbons put together. So our teachers are filling their own schedules pretty good. So pretty proud. They jumped all over it in our meetings to get together schedule and stuff. So that's good.
Okay. Ownership in what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I think kind of on tagging on Brian's comments, again, my biggest concern was kids out of the classroom. That is absolutely my biggest concern on, what do we lose in that time window? Again, maybe there's not a major deal there, maybe there is, but like I said, I know, we are trying to get, back off the state list and again, that was my major concern with regard to doing any of this. And understand we're in odd situation with all the COVID stuff going on, and I understand we're doing the best we can with what we got. And I guess that's kind of where I'm at, that I can support it. But again, if we have the opportunity to do it differently and have less windows where kids are out of school, that would be my preference. So sure.
I think we're all there. I think that the 3-month window was way too big. That wasn't a window. That was And so we're trying to avoid that with everything that we're doing.
Just one thing I would add, and part of the decision also was affected by the number of subs that we have. And that's been a real struggle all year. It continues to be a struggle, and hopefully that will improve. But being able to get 10 or 20 subs in our building at one time is impossible. So doing the best we can with the situation, I think it's a good plan. And I think a week from now, when we've gone through it, I think it'll be very positive for our teachers and will be impacted with their classes.
To give you a sample of what one of the things that we'll be doing, on one of the days we'll have our ESU professional developers come over and help out with this. But Mr. Kearns has had students write an essay that would be the same kind of thing that they would see on the ACT writing portion. We're going to have all of our 6th through 12th grade language arts teachers get together in one room, talk about what those should look like, how they should be, what they should do, and then they're going to go through and score them and give students feedback on how those students can improve their writing. That is just something that we would not be able to do without this time, because we, like Mr. Kosik said, you can't get, that'd be like 10 subs that we would need to be able to do that, and we can't get that. So at this time, so it's just going to be extremely helpful to us and helpful to the kids, because that ACT essay is probably the hardest part for our kids to do. And it's one of those things that's keeping us down. So if we get a chance to approve that,
Have they added that to a requirement?
it is a requirement as a state test, the state test part for the juniors. So yeah, it's never been required. It's not necessarily a requirement when you go and take the test as an individual or one of their national testing dates, but when it's a state test, it's part of our state test.
I didn't know that. Thank you.
The other thing is this basically takes place between the two seasons. So it's right at the end of our, and so as far as our athletic or activities, one of the other things that we're going to do is meet with the music group over this time and look at fall concerts and Christmas concerts. Where do we host them? How do we do it? And looking at all our options for what we can do with our music programs. We're working through one act play that's, they're practicing over here, that we don't have a place for them yet. But as far as the musics, we can't do it the way that we did in the past. I can't crowd that many parents into that middle school gym. And so it'll be a district level music meeting to talk about what do fall concerts or Christmas concerts look like in order to be able to put them in a place where we can accommodate people. So I don't necessarily have a time for it yet. They're supposed to be getting back to me. I think they're getting closer. The teachers are supposed to ask for time, and then I'll open it up to the principals to attend, because it does affect everybody when it comes to your music program. So. Okay.
Other comments on the calendar? Sally?
Simon,
Yes.
Robertson,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Anuza,
Yes.
Misha,
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Okay. Negotiations. Resignations.
Make the motion to approve staff resignation and thank her for her service to the district.
Second the motion.
Okay, any discussion?
Her letter is attached, but it's in Spanish, so I'm not expecting that you guys should do it.
They just said that she liked her job, but she, at this time, the payment was not enough for her and her family. But she appreciated and she's looking forward to have the opportunity in the future. That's what she said.
All right.
I was kind of hoping it would say something like this. She didn't like her bosses or something, but that didn't happen.
No, she,
That was in there too.
no.
Just kidding.
Go ahead, call the roll, Sally.
Robertson,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Anuza,
Yes.
Misha,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
New hires.
I will make a motion to approve new hire recommendations.
I'll second.
Discussion?
These are both replacement positions, one for the preschool and one for SCS. Paraeducators.
Any comments or questions? Sally, call the roll.
Tough to find a pool
Yeah.
of candidates this year.
Oh.
That pool's been dry, and when we get them in there, it's tough. We're still short some parents, but we're doing the best we can.
Go ahead, call the roll, Sally. Go ahead, whenever you're ready.
Alrighty. Roberts,
Yes.
Anuza,
Yes.
Misha,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Simrod,
Yes.
Robertson.
Yes.
All right. School priority report.
I'm gonna let the high school administrator speak on that, and then I got a couple of short videos to show you some classes that wanted you to see it.
I guess I would just mention that, we continue to meet with our consultants. Right now, we're doing that through Zoom. Typically, it's 2 days where one of the consultants will be Zooming with us with some training, also visiting classrooms, taking our computer and observing classrooms via Zoom for them. And it's been going really well. We continue to, have a lot of visits in classrooms, and the feedback has been good. I know we're all anxious get to a point where they're actually visiting classrooms in person. You lose a little bit via Zoom, but I think it's been positive and going really well.
I would agree. The write-up that we sent this time, it has just a little bit, and the way we're gonna kind of format it is just to put in like one of our goals that we have that we're working on that month. And I started working on November's today. And just so you know, that's the link on the bottom is the plan. If you guys ever do have questions on that, or if you'd like to go through it together, I'm more than happy to sit down and walk through it with you if you have any interest in doing that. But honestly, the remote has worked well, I think, for our coaching sessions. It's a little bit different because we're coaching teachers and they're sitting there on the screen watching us coach, and then we sit with them and figure out what we could do better. But it's been good so far. And our meetings the last couple of months really have been very positive. So I've been pretty excited about it. So.
Have they discussed about when they actually might come out in person again, or is that still?
It's looking like next month.
Yeah, we're hoping to start that next month.
Yeah, that's our goal too. Anybody else have any questions?
Okay, up on the screen, this is one of our students. Mrs. Avadil works directly, she supervises this program. She and Dr. Lefthal. So if you don't care, I'd just like to play one.
Hey, my name is Jose. I am a student of the Commerce program. I like to help my teachers show me English. I like to practice my English with my friends. I like to comment and be here. Thank you for listening to me.
In the second video,
hello, my name is Norman. I am a student of the newcomer program. I like to study with my teachers. I have learned a lot since this program started. I like it because they teach me in different ways, and we do many different activities. I hope this program continues and other EL programs can change like this one. Thank you for listening to my ideas.
Ms. Avadil, do you want to talk about your kids a little bit? And Dr. Lefthal?
Yeah, so we, Mr. Carrillo kind of picked Jose's, well, he's just a little bit, he's a challenge. I don't know how to say it nicely. School isn't his favorite, but honestly, being in this program, I think a lot of it was like I talked about last time. He was just super self-conscious, and being in this program has allowed him just a very safe space to use his English. So he speaks more English here with our Spanish-speaking teachers than he does at the high school, I would say, because they just have provided that super safe space for him. And then Norma is a super hard worker, and she loves school, and Missy works with them as well, so she can jump in too. And she also just feels very comfortable. She just lives with her dad. She doesn't have a mom, and so she really made some really important connections with our paras here. We've really done a really great job of forming relationships with our kiddos, and she feels so comfortable here. And also, her English is just taking off. So, yeah, relaxed, and it's a different kind of setting.
So is this their first year of the school district?
No, they were both here last year. They came like maybe October of last year.
Not even a year.
Yeah, so they haven't even been, and then with the shutdown, you know, they were not, that was 5 months where they weren't speaking any English. So
In our programs last year, like 30 becoming, so they weren't getting like one-on-one attention that they should have.
So the whole purpose of this program was English immersion. that they would come into this building, only speak English, no foreign languages. And not that we don't want them to, or we want them to lose their Spanish, but when they go to the high school with all the Spanish speakers there, they didn't have to speak English. They could rely on their friends and they didn't have to speak. And it was embarrassing for some of them that they didn't have language, or English language, they had language. And so in our discussions about what do we do, and this has been a focus of our priority school, of how do you get your kids to speak English faster and move them through the testing through ALPA faster, or ALPA 21. And so our concern was, well, they're speaking Spanish all day. How do you do this? You send them to an English only. And so once we bought this building, we said, we may have an opportunity. So they're here for half a day. And they take English and math here. And when they go back to the high school, then they can, for the other half of the day, they can take music and elective courses. But their English and math is done here. Other thoughts?
Yeah, I'd jump in real quick. Just overseeing the program. Brandy has been invaluable here. I mean, she is just amazing, and she's doing great work with Joel. Joel is knocking it out of the park. Joel was one of my teachers that I supervised last year, and he was really on the verge of really leading this district. He had designed was going to do something different, and we were lucky enough to get him back. But having these connections where we have Miss Elog up to the high school and Miss Blaze, and Miss Blaze has been a great addition to our staff as well. When we have those pieces starting to fall in place, you can just start seeing the kids. And as I said, I oversee the program, but without these people in those positions, we are lucky to have what we have, and they're moving quick. And every time I come down, the kids are engaged, they're working. I meet with Brandy just about a lot. And it's nice having that piece, and as Elog mentioned, that the size of the classes that we had last year in high school were just unmanageable. We just couldn't do it. And being able to have this separation, it just makes the classes that they're smaller, so we can have that one-to-one attention. So they're really getting, I feel, just better education, and that they're just able to move faster. So we're really excited to see it. Working with the priority school staff, our consultants, they're excited about that program as well. Having gone to NABE last year and to see what other schools are doing, I believe this is as good as any program that was at that conference, if not better. I don't know if Brandy would say the same thing, but for what we're doing, I really think that if we can just keep ironing out the little pieces, the parts that, the sticking points for us, scheduling and those types of things, if we can get those pieces ironed out, I think we have a program that will be as good as any that's in this country, I feel. So, Brandy, maybe Miss Elog?
Yeah, I agree, and it's been fun to see. Like, Joel is very proud of it. Mr. Greer is very proud of it, and he even offered to present at our PD next week so that other teachers can see what's happening down here. And that was part of like he made the videos for it. And I think also everybody's doing just a really good job of kind of cross-curricular teaching. So the vocab that they're learning here, they're being able to use it in Miss Elog's class and Miss Blaze's class. And yeah, it's just. Yeah.
And I think both Dr. Leftal and Mr. Kosik can explain that sometimes when kids don't see themselves as successful in a classroom, that the only way that they can show any is through behavior. And there was the students who we have here, some of those kids were bordering on behavior issues because either embarrassed or fell behind or whatever reason, they had to look good somehow, And so I think we pushed them into some of those settings of, how do you survive when you're sitting in the class and you don't understand English and that's what's being taught. So they might have gotten a reprieve from the ELL program, but when you pushed them into a regular ed classroom, they couldn't get it.
It sounds like we're having success. I mean, so if we had to put a window of time where we think an individual be in that setting, is that a year, 2 years, or throughout high school? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, ideally, we would like to have them be here for a year. But it's going to depend on, like I talked about last time, we have a student who has never been in school, who is a newcomer here as a freshman. And then we just got Amy, student from Mexico, and she's been in school all the way until she moved here. And so she might get kicked out at semester, honestly, because she's picking up the language so quickly, along with the content. So she might get kicked out in 6 months, but our young man who has never had any school, he might need to be here maybe 2 years, depending, a year and a half, maybe, depending on how fast we can get him caught up.
Well, with these classes too, we're able to do more of the things they're doing down here up there as well. Whereas before it wasn't as easy for us to have them work in groups and like try and talk to each other in English and then go to the rest of the class because you couldn't hit every little pocket of groups to make sure they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. Whereas now there's only like eight groups to get to make sure they're on task and doing what they're supposed to be. And so it's a lot easier to manage compared to what it was last year. So they're getting practice on both sides.
So the morning class are non-speakers. And the afternoon class, maybe they have some language. And so that's kind of, so yeah, I could see them getting from the morning to the afternoon to not coming. But, again, there may be some kids who in their testing will still be in that 0 group, 0 and then 1 all the way to 4.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, Jose started off in the morning group and then he progressed. And so Mr. Carrillo was like, I think he needs to be in the afternoon. So we've already had movement. So I'm excited.
Okay.
So another good thing that's happening in this building and just good people working with them.
Other comments, questions? No, I guess I'm excited to hear the successes that we're having in that regard. And I would say, yeah, it probably is something that I don't know if anybody else is doing it or maybe they have some similarities in what they're doing, but it definitely can, I think, help Skylar. And like I said, having the access to the space and stuff, I'm sure has been a benefit to that as well. And that's probably been a driver as far as trying to keep kids separated from the other population and forcing them to do things that need to be done. So
One of my students did ask to rent a room in this hallway, so just keep that open. He's like, oh, this is really nice. Can they rent these?
He's homeless. And from house to house. So.
okay.
We're at the
Principal
main
reports.
part. Yeah. The principals and directors.
See, and we don't have everybody here though. Close.
No, but
Close.
we got Darley's online.
Oh, Darley, good to have you.
She was online.
She is.
She's hiding.
Yeah, I see her.
Okay, so give us a good thing. I know your principal reports are in there. These board members can all read.
Yep.
You want to highlight something in there, or if you just want to give us a good thing? Where do you want to go? Charlie, Zadie.
All right, we got parent-teacher conferences starting tomorrow. That's pretty, like Dr. Hazy mentioned, if you'd asked us if we'd be here getting to do parent-teacher conferences, we've made a few adjustments and staff has just jumped all over it. So some of our staff are offering a couple of Zoom conferences, phone call conferences. We're just making it happen. That's going to be great. So commend our staff's work on that. That's been fantastic. And just a staff member I'd like to note is our 6th grade science teacher, Miss Nolan. I was observing her the other day. She did a really fantastic lesson. She's not a science person at heart, but she's learned it quick. She's a heck of a teacher. So if you're a heck of a teacher, you can get into content pretty quick. So I'd like to highlight her as well.
Right.
Quickly, Brandy.
Can I still heal? I'm super excited about conferences at the high school. I really think that working just with focus teachers, I think that's going to solidify those relationships even more, and getting parents involved with focus teachers. I'm hoping we'll build that program.
Clarissa?
Clarissa.
I'm gonna go with my positive being what we were kind of just talking about, and the kids are talking a lot more in English in class, and I love it. Just when they get something right and the looks on their faces
I was gonna say, does it, I guess I just thought of this now, is seeing their,
Like you can just tell in their eyes.
I mean, just even to be able to, for them to read lips or having enunciation, those types of things.
I stand at the front of the room and then I'll like remove and speak and then put it back up.
Okay, that's, I was kind of curious.
There are times that like they cannot tell what I'm saying, or like when we're pronouncing different words, because B's and B's are weird for them. I try and like make sure they can see my mouth so that they know what I'm doing, but then my mouth goes back up right away.
Okay.
But
I didn't know if there was anybody. Go ahead.
My highlight is our athletic season is coming to an end. We didn't have as many victories as we hoped, but the improvement among the students in every sport was drastic. I know I just talked to Mr. Conley, I just texted him a little bit ago to see how the volleyball games were going. He said we haven't won any, but we're keeping it competitive with Lakeview tonight. So from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, we've improved a lot. And then my staff member is Mrs. Rochford. She told me at the beginning of the year she was really nervous about, keeping kids distanced and still being able to get them active in the class. She found a way to do that with a review game where the kids could run laps. They could still work together, but they were still distanced. So our teachers are really becoming innovative and figuring out ways to keep kids engaged in the classroom. I think that's awesome.
I would mention a couple things. First of all, facilities with the open house on the 20th. Really excited to get into those facilities, and just as excited to see the fine arts area progress we're making on that, and what that's shaping up to look like. I think that's going to be just as impressive. And then just on a personal level, had a chance to head out to the farm this weekend, help my dad move a few cows. That's always good. And then got a chance to let my mom make me some dinner. So can't pass on a good home cooked meal. So it was a good weekend.
For you.
I'm excited about two things. Parent-teacher conferences, I'm excited to see how it shakes out at the high school level. Trying to mimic what they do at the elementary and middle school. I think it could be a great thing for our staff and for our parents. But just the overall feeling at school, really, our kids are doing a great job with masks. There are a handful that push us every day, but that's normal. I really feel like things are really just kind of falling into place in kind of a weird situation. It feels like a good school year so far.
And I was going to bring up too, I just how excited I am over for the next weeks, 10 days. I mean, excuse me, besides the fact that we have 145 sessions planned for next week with 47 people being speakers for us. I also have an opportunity on Thursday of this week to present at a Renaissance conference, which is Renaissance does our STAR and the STAR assessments that we do, and accelerated reader and MyOn, stuff like that. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how that goes.
So my spotlight for youth sports, we've been working a lot with just collaborating with the after school program, giving our coaches the opportunity to marry their season with after school programs, so we could kill two birds with one stone. With then hopefully lessening fatigue for kids, because it's a lot for, especially if like the girls have dance and there's and all that stuff. So hopefully some of our coaches take after school program up on that offer. And then the staff member that I'd like to highlight for this month is Nancy Santos over at the elementary. She has been managing the cafeteria at the elementary building, and she's been doing a phenomenal job. This year, lunch with COVID is really tricky, and how she manages it and how the kids have responded, I almost attribute a lot to her for why we haven't had an outbreak, because she just does a great job with keeping kids with their mask distance and really well in order. So she is worth her weight in gold.
Okay.
Sally? Tell them
Oh,
about your
with
new
us?
house.
Huh?
Tell them about your new house. Sally moved.
Well, I did move. And I have finally, after a month, got most of my furniture in the house because we had all new flooring put in, so we had to wait. So we are slowly getting unpacked again. We just unpacked enough and move it around, and we're done moving around. We're just unpacking. So it's been kind of fun. It's been a long month, and as far as work, I work with a lot of the support staff in each building. And since we moved here, they have been handling the money that comes into their buildings. And then all the receipts and the other information come to me, which I input into the computer, the program, to keep track of all that. And that's really been going well. I have to say, all the administrative assistants in each building at the middle school, high school, and elementary are all doing well. We haven't had any lost receipts or anything that I couldn't find. So I have to give a shout out to them because that's all new to them this year. That was added to their, and then they lost other things when they were given other things to do this, but it's working well, so.
Well, I'll highlight a couple teachers over at Richland. So my daughter was out sick for about a week and a half, and they did a really good job keeping that open communication with both my wife and I. I was sending lot packets home so that she would stay engaged with what they were learning at school. And, just constantly checking to make sure she was doing all right. Grateful for the teachers that we have that cared for the kids way beyond what their duties called for.
Well, for me, it's, just seeing all the super work everybody's doing at the school. I'm being very impressed with the numbers, that they are being pretty low. So thank you for everything you guys are doing. You guys are amazing. It's just on the personal side, I'm so excited. I'm getting a new puppy, finally. I was on the waiting list for over a year, but I received the call a couple weeks ago. So we're really excited and getting ready at home.
What kind of a puppy?
Shih Tzu. I already have one, but I'm getting a second one.
Very fun.
You can't even compare with that stuff.
What? My dog would eat yours now, sorry. I'm kidding. No, my good thing, I think that I had an opportunity to watch and listen to the band last Friday at the game, and I was super impressed. I thought they did a really, really, really wonderful job. The sound was good, and I thought it was a really great way for them to be judged by by people that have a lot of experience in that venue, and to have it at a football game was really nice. They didn't have to go anywhere else. It seemed to work out really well, and I was really impressed with how they did. So.
I know there have been some concerns, or I got an email from a parent who was concerned about us not going anywhere and competing with the band. To our knowledge, there's only 2 festivals, and you got to be invited to those to go. That's why our music people suggested that we bring judges in and judge our kids, and so.
I thought it was a great way to do it.
So, anyway, we didn't cut anything. It's just the stuff we would normally go compete in canceled, and then trying to get invited to go somewhere. The other thing is just transporting kids and putting them together, and how do we do all this,
I would just mention, I talked to Paul and didn't get a chance to talk to Maureen, but it went so well that we even talked about, when we're all past this, we may even try to do something like that early in the season, because it's just a great experience for our kids, and I think it's something that we can continue to do that I think will just enhance our program.
It really will, because when they have that opportunity to be critiqued by somebody other than their teachers, they might take it a little bit more seriously. Oh, this is what I need to do to improve. And if they can do that early in the season, then they get better and better. as the
It's
season
also
goes
a great
on.
way, a byproduct, to educate people who may never go to a band
Oh, yeah.
contest. They get to see,
Right.
what some of that is about.
The biggest drawback is that the kids don't get to see other bands this year.
Right.
That's the biggest drawback in my estimation, but I think it's a great way to get them motivated to work hard when they're practicing.
My highlight program is our busing program. Ronnie and Renee do a great job of scheduling, organizing. There's no hiccups in there that get to my level. And us picking up kids and taking temperatures as they get on the buses from the trailer park. And, we were nervous about how else this is going to work. Putting masks on kids immediately. Not so tough at the schools where they can check in and get on, but when you go out, they've done a great job of it organized. Extremely excited for the open house that's going to be hosted by the foundation. The tour is from 3 to 5 on the Tuesday the 20th. And then ribbon cutting at 4 o'clock. We'd like as many board members as can make it there for that ribbon cutting. It'll be you guys, and I know the lieutenant governor's coming. There are other dignitaries that have been added to that. And so if you can, be there at 4 o'clock on that Tuesday the 20th for the ribbon cutting. We're going to put together a schedule, but it looks like it'll probably be held in the New West Gym because of the sound system in there. It'll be easy to hear for people who speak. And, so there's also places for people to sit there and still social distance. So even though they'll come in, that's where the ribbon cutting will be, probably in that gym. We'll work out all the details. I know that the foundation's working on some refreshments and things. And then we do a volleyball game that night. So it'll be kind of fun. The other is Friday morning, the 23rd, from 8 to 9. We have an all-district Zoom meeting and recognition of first quarter recipients of outstanding first quarter. Those of you who can be here, it'll be held here, but it'll be zoomed out to all the buildings because obviously we can't put our people together. And so if you can be here, then that'd be kind of nice. We'll do that right away at 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Well, the positive things that I have to say is that I think that administration, the principals, all the way down to the teachers, the staff have done a phenomenal job under the conditions they're working. And I never thought we would be in the shape we are right now with the numbers. And so I say keep up the good work and hope it all goes well. Thank you, everybody.
That's the shortest speech you've ever given.
We're after the hour, so
no, and you hit it on the head, Chuck. Again, it's just a lot of great effort from a lot of people, students included, and everybody following through on the plan. So that's much appreciated. I just have one quick thing. In at last meeting, we were anticipating a new grandchild, so we did get her in. Scotty Jordan came into the world, and so we were able to celebrate with them and have baptism this last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, and so that's my positive. So
My comments are real similar to what Minor had to say. My oldest was quarantined for most of the last couple of weeks, and I know had that been me in my high school days during harvest, I would have been just loving it, and school would have been the last thing on my mind, and I'd been out helping with harvest, but she stayed engaged with her homework, and oftentimes had her, was at the table watching videos or watching Zoom, working on homework and staying engaged, and I got to give some credit to her and to the staff that is going above and beyond to keep these kids engaged when they can't be there. And so just applaud the work that you guys are all doing.
Darley.
Mine has, my staff is phenomenal, of course. And I'm so glad that we're in this building. We have an extremely fragile, medically fragile child that wouldn't get to come to the school setting. And she has her very own little room over here. So she gets to be with her teacher and her helper. Otherwise, she wouldn't get that. So, but I was really worried about some of our special ed students keeping masks on. But once again, our teachers just surprise us and always do a phenomenal job.
Okay, thanks, Starlight. Anybody else? We don't have anybody else on, do we?
No, Rich and Virginia have a couple things to sign before you run away.
Okay. All right. Oh, so, yeah.
And I hit Brian's foundation.
Yep.
And that's that they're gonna host that. Sorry, Brian.
I missed the meeting, so that's just fine.
I didn't want to put him on the spot. I thought, "Okay, I do it."
Yeah, and we'll have a little conversation on negotiations, staff negotiations. Afterwards, we can set.
Yeah, I'll just give you your
Yeah,
notebook.
that's
The
fine,
first
yeah.
meeting is Monday night at
Next
6:30 here.
Monday, yeah.
So I can just give you your notebooks. It's pretty self-explanatory.
If no other new business to present, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
I will second it.
Oh,
You have to make the
I
motion.
will make a motion to
During the meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Discussion, actually. Got good comments tonight. I like that. That's good. And we still